Welcome to the Vernon Hills Update. The update offers information about a variety of village services. You'll meet a few of your neighbors and you'll find out about upcoming events. On today's show, we'll visit with the Vernon Hills Police Department's Dispatch Center to find out how the center now serves Libertyville emergency services as well as Vernon Hills. We'll learn about fire safety, including the value of sprinkler systems from our friends over at Countryside Fire Protection District. We'll find out about a new public transportation resource available to us from PACE, the new Vernon Hills Mundaline Call and Ride service. And we'll visit with Officer Sharon Joseph and her friends over at Hawthorne Middle School North for some important Halloween safety tips. And we'll take a look back at some of the sights and sounds from Vernon Hills Oktoberfest, held on Saturday, October 6th at the Metro Station. If you have comments or suggestions, please contact Mike Storto at 847-918-3560 or email mikes@vhills.org. Thank you for tuning into the Vernon Hills Update.
We've come over to the Vernon Hills Police Department to again visit the dispatch center. We're with Ed Mankey, who's in charge of the communications over here. And this center has become even more busy since we last visited you. It truly is a hub of communication for our emergency responders. Can you tell people what's been going on here lately as far as who's in here?
Yes, that is correct. From the last time that we interviewed, we have consolidated the Libertyville Police Department's Communications Center into ours. It was a cost-saving effort between the two communities to try and help, better fund the, with the financial difficulties, and to provide better service for both communities. So as of August 1st of this year, the Libertyville Fire and Police Department's communication centers have been consolidated into our center.
And to remind everybody, prior to that, Countryside Fire Protection District had moved their dispatch in here too. So you've got a very busy place with just about everything you'd need to know about emergency response going on right in here.
Yes, that is correct. Since the last time we met prior to that, Countryside was just moving in, and we are going through the logistics of converting them over into our center. That went very well, and as of this point forward, we're now 35 days into Libertyville, and the cutover went very well. We're providing fantastic service. We have shown that we have definitely reduced our response times, and we have, welcomed the communities with open arms, and they have welcomed us as well.
Well, and kind of what's laid the groundwork for this was a few years back, the Vernon Hills Police Department had done some improvements, and you had, converted this building to be dispatch, and that really did set you up to be state-of-the-art. And what we see in here, you've got your finger on the pulse of a lot of things. Can you just give a quick overview of some of the stuff that's at play in here that's helping you guys out?
Certainly. As time has gone on, we have progressed with advancements in technology, with upgrading the 911 system to a VoIP system. We have, of course, our New World CAD system, which we've had in place for several years. We have expanded that with a multi-jurisdictional addition to allow other agencies to come in. We also have narrow-banded and increased our weather alerting system. We have introduced the in-car mobile computing to Libertyville along with our CAD system. We are in the process of cross-training with the Countryside Fire so that we have adequate emergency staffing in the event of a catastrophic emergency or in the event of a bad weather situation. We can provide the best service for all the communities around.
Well, and as we stand in here, that sounds very technical and very impressive, and I guess as I stand in here, I'm just amazed by all the screens. So I know there's a lot going on because I see screens of data and screens of, you're watching intersections, you're watching everything, and you can log in, you can really take a look at everything going on everywhere.
Right, that is correct. The telecommunicators are, very faceted. They are, well versed with being tasking capabilities. As you can see with all the computer screens, they have their hands on the pulse of everything between the three communities. They do a fantastic job. They are, one of the better assets when it comes to 911 in the event of an emergency. And it is very satisfying to have the depth of service that we have within our community here with our telecommunicators.
And you can tell they're busy. It's a busy place here today. I'm sure it's always busy like that, though. And as you said, what's been good about this is the coordination is here. there's been cost savings here, but the service has definitely even improved. And so you're going to start doing some studies to see how that's been improved.
Yes, that is correct. We are in the process of doing that, seeing that we're only a little more over a month into the process. We're comfortable to show that we have increased our service. We've actually reduced our response times because of the coordinated effort. With the communication staff in place, they're able to talk to the other communities much faster by not having to go through a relay system. They actually are hands-on with the other departments. So it does help, and it is a definite improvement overall.
Now since we always have, we want to give a message to remind people of what to do for their end of things if they're in an emergency. So from our standpoint, dial 911. We don't have to care if we're in Libertyville's district, if we're in Countryside that we're calling. We just need to call 911 and get a hold of you.
That is correct. With advancements in technology with 911, it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in Libertyville, Vernon Hills, or the unincorporated areas, those phone calls will be directed to the proper agency, and it's a seamless transition. You will not realize when you dial it, just like if you dialed in the old days, you get the same quality of service.
Okay. And can you give us a couple more tips? I know when we visited you before, you said it's always important to stay calm and stay on the line with your dispatchers. They're working. They're already sending somebody. They might be right in your home already to help you, but you want us to stay on the line and give them certain information.
Yes, that is correct. One of the big factors is we also understand that when you dial 911, most of the time it is a definite emergency, and people, they need help. The one thing that we ask is if you stay calm, listen to the instructions of the telecommunicator. You might hear in series of it sounds like people are hanging up or clicks or pops. That's because with the advancement in our system, we are actually talking to the officers and you at the same time, and basically wait to be spoken to. That is the one rule. If we could ask, the public is the trained telecommunicators and the officers ask specific questions to extract the information they need in a very rapid fashion to get that to the officer, so the officer's safety and the picture that's painted for the officer responding to your need gets the best information in the quickest amount of time.
So call, stay on the line, answer the questions, and don't hang up just because it gets quiet for a little while.
That is correct. Do not hang up. You might be quiet for what seems like an eternity. It's really not. It's usually a few moments, and then usually they'll get back to you, or they'll give you instructions to say we can, hang up now. But most of the time, they'll keep you online until the officer arrives.
Well, and it's comforting to know because these guys are really calm when they're answering. I'm sure when we're dialing 911, we're not so calm, and they are just extremely calm, and they're doing 7 or 8 things on our behalf as we're on the phone, and just hang in there and know we got one of the best crews around getting us help.
Yes, that is correct. They are well trained. Their dedication, their years of service has fine-tuned them to be used to being able to become very calm in a very hysterical situation. They fall back on their years of experience and training to be able to control a very hostile situation and make you feel comfortable and give you satisfaction and be courteous at the same time.
Well, it's a wonderful organization you've got here. You've got a great team working here today. I know it's busy today, and this is probably just a regular run-of-the-mill day for you. So thank you for taking the time. Thank you to your entire team for what they do. And I know if people have questions about everything, they can get a hold of you and find out more about the good work you're doing.
Yes, they can contact my office. There is a link on the website, or you can just go to the villageofvernonhills.com, and they can direct you through the police department's website post. So
thank you for taking the time. Thanks to the team.
Thank you so much.
Well, here in town, we have a new option for public transportation, and it's kind of exciting for us out in the suburbs. We're with Mike Allison, the village manager, to talk about Pace's new call and ride door-to-door van service.
Right. Oh, it's a great service. I think a lot of people know those services as dial ride, and it's similar to that. You call and they put you on a schedule and they pick you up at home and take you to your destination, and then you, of course, if you need to, make arrangements to go from that place back to your home or whatever. And it runs from about 6:30 in the morning until 6 at night, so it has a nice span of time during the day, and that's Monday through Fridays.
Okay. And that's something, like you said, it's kind of door to door, so whether you're a resident trying to get to the train station or you work in one of the business business parks.
Right.
It does have quite a wide range. The Mundelein Vernon Hills
Right.
service map is,
Right.
it covers like from Milwaukee Avenue and Route 45 and 83 up to the train.
A&E tracks,
So
yeah.
so it does cover both the Mundelein and the Vernon Hills train
Right.
station. So if
Right.
you're in a business park here in town,
Right.
it's a new option to get back and forth.
Right, and that's very helpful. And then also, obviously, it's another option for seniors to go doctor's visits within that service area, or to go shopping, that kind of thing. So it's really a nice. It can be used for a number of different things, or to visit friends, or go to work out at the Y or the Park District or some other place, or go shopping at the mall. Just all kinds of things it can be used for.
And it runs similar to like the Pace buses, so you can use your Pace bus transfers, or they've got a
Right.
coin box. I think it's $1.75.
Right,
You
right.
have to have correct change, or you use your bus pass.
Right.
But it lets you connect in with that whole transportation service that
Right.
Pace or Metro or whatever you have to do.
Right.
And they said too, what's nice is you can set up standing rides. So if there's room on the schedule, and you know every day at such
Right.
and such a time you need to go from here to there,
Right.
you can work
Right.
with that. And reading up on it, I saw the van today. I saw a lovely lady driving the van, and I understand when you call, you're actually calling the van driver. So it's not like you have to go through a whole lot of
Right.
system. You get to
Right.
know that driver.
Right, exactly. So that's very helpful as far as you making the connection. And that's what, people historically have had kind of a concern with dial rides. Is it going to pick me up at the right time? Is it going to drop me off? And of course, if you're going shopping, it's less of a factor, although we all like to be timely on our time. But the doctor's visit, that's somewhere you really want to be there on time, and
And you
might
can
have to wait.
schedule ahead. They say you can
Right,
call up
right,
to
right,
up to
right.
2 weeks in advance
Yeah,
to get on the
right.
schedule, and you're
Right.
talking to the driver, or you can dial, call up to the like I think 5 o'clock the night
Yeah.
before. So there's a lot of flexibility from that particular.
Again, I'd urge people to use that. And, also to mention all the other services we have in the village. And I can go through them here so I don't forget something. But both of our townships, as you know, we're split by Town Line Road. Both of our townships have a dial ride service. Now, they have different rules and limitations and costs, so call them up, and this will be up right after this PSA. There'll be information on it. But again, Vernon Township has a dial ride, and Libertyville Township has a dial ride. So, and they run them, during the week, again, during the weekday, Monday through Fridays. And there's like I said, there's different limitations, so really check those phone numbers.
Sometimes it's for seniors or for
Exactly. And then also the Vernon Hills, we have a senior shuttle, our senior bus, and that runs approximately like 8:30 to 2:30 Monday through Friday, and that you can just call the village hall and make a reservation there, and that's a free service. And again, that's limited. The time's limited, and it's limited Monday through Friday. So that's an important thing to use for people 55 and older.
55 and older, and it's free if you're a resident of the village. So it's
Yes,
really,
exactly.
especially
it's
as
a
it
great
starts getting
service.
cold and
Right.
you just don't want to pull your car out.
Right. It's great service. And then there is our 2 fixed routes in town that, again, you mentioned the connection with Pace, and there, the focal point is the mall. Is Hawthorne, Westfield Hawthorne, and there's the route that goes north to Waukegan and south to Niles.
Okay.
So you can tie into those, and that's fixed route service. So there's a lot of, and you mentioned, of course, tying in with the Metro commuter rail. So there's a lot of possibilities for people, and we would urge you, and of course, Pace analyzes these routes, and so use it. It'll be gone if you don't use it. So it's
exactly.
important to look at that call and ride.
Right.
And again, it's a very convenient service. I should say we have had a few of our residents that are actually west of where we are right now, Country Club Estates and Westmoreland, that called when the fixed route was terminated about a year. Well, it's almost 2 years now. It's been terminated at the Westfield rather than go into the neighborhoods. And this would be a great option. Unfortunately, as you said, 45 right to my left is the boundary, so it doesn't go west of here. So we're working with Pace to see if we can expand that. So if anybody would, lives on Westmoreland or in that area, call Pace up and tell them I'd use the bus if it was available to call and ride.
Maybe we can
Yeah.
expand that service area a little bit.
Exactly.
So then, and what's nice is these are all of our public transit options.
Right.
You've got the Vernon Hills senior bus, and then we still have our friends at like 303 Taxi and places
Right.
like that. So
American
really,
Taxi,
we try,
all
yeah,
those,
we
yeah.
try to make it. There
Right.
are options for if you need to get around, if you want, if you're
Right.
employed, need to get from the train to the
Right.
office or whatever. We've got a lot more
Right.
options
Yep.
than we used to. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we'd urge people to use those, to look at those options. And then we're also going to have stuff on our website. So it's clear. Now, again, because of the services, we'd urge people to look at the service provider just to verify time. If you see this and 2 months from now you remember, check it out first before you assume that
Exactly.
it works for you.
Yeah, and with that Pace dial and ride, it does sound too like if you can get a hold of that driver, they'll give you, enough some
Right.
information, or sometimes you have to leave a message because they're in the middle of driving or doing
Right.
whatever, something
Right.
like that. So, information is online from Pace, from the village, and thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Officer Sharon Joseph with the Vernon Hills Police Department's Crime Prevention Unit. Today for our Halloween tips, I've got a special treat for you today. I am at Middle School North with the Student Council group, and they are here to help me today to show you those Halloween safety tips.
A. Always watch for cars. B. Buy costumes that are made of flame-resistant material. C. Costumes should not drag on the ground or be too dark to see. D. Don't talk to strangers. E. Eat dinner before going out to trick or treat. F. Follow all traffic laws and signals. G.
Go slow, drivers. Be careful if you're behind the wheel.
H.
Help your pets. Costumed strangers may frighten them.
I.
Inspect your candy.
J. Just say no to drugs. K.
Know how and where to contact your parents.
L.
Look both ways before crossing the street.
M.
Make sure your shoes fit and are tied properly.
N. Never trick or treat alone. O.
Only eat candy after your parents have checked it.
P.
Props such as a sword or wand should only be flexible toys.
Q.
Quit trick or treating after dark.
R.
Remember to walk, not run, between houses.
Stay on sidewalks as much as possible. Team! Trick or treat only in familiar neighborhoods close to home. You! Unfamiliar animals and pets should be avoided. V! Visit only houses that are lit. W!
Wear masks that don't block your vision.
X! Exercise caution. Y!
Young children should be accompanied by an adult.
Zip your lips until your candy is checked.
We hope you enjoyed our special edition of the Halloween Safety Tips today. And as a reminder, trick-or-treating is always on a Halloween night, which is Wednesday, October 31st this year, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. On behalf of Chief Mark Fleischhauer and the entire Vernon Hills Police Department, we hope you have a safe and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween!
Well, we are with our friend Fireman Tony Rodkey of Countryside Fire Protection District. We're at Middle North because he's been doing some training over here with our students, and this is a busy time, Fireman Tony, because we're in October, Fire Prevention Month. So you've got a lot of messages for us.
That's right, and here at Hawthorne Middle North, we're talking about the importance of smoke alarms and to test them once a month.
Okay.
To remind the sixth graders to pass it on to the families, to change the batteries when they change the clocks.
So really, you change them twice a year?
Twice a year, to make sure that they have a smoke alarm on each level of their house, to have an escape plan and practice that when they change the batteries in their smoke alarms.
Okay. Hey, I got another question for you when you talk about escape plans and smoke alarms and everything like that. Fire moves fast and it's dark, right? Because sometimes we don't even visualize what it would be like for a fire, but you've got, like, when the sprinkler truck's here, you show kids how fast this goes, and it's not bright and happy like you'd think of a candle. It's some very dangerous looking stuff you're showing them.
It is, and it ties well into the sixth grade science class because they're learning about the fire triangle, that there's heat, fuel, and oxygen necessary for fire, and that our demonstration is a sprinkler going off at 155 degrees Fahrenheit on average in 30 seconds, not using much more material than a t-shirt.
Right, so the fire that we're going to see that the kids are watching, that starts with just a little bit of combustible and goes that fast.
It's a simulated trash can fire that grows and catches a curtain on fire and then reaches the deadly temperature of 155 degrees on average in 30 seconds.
Okay, so that makes us really remember we got to have our escape plan and we have to have our smoke alarms. Have you got a few more fire safety month tips for us? I know we're getting to the point we're going to be turning on our furnaces and our heaters. And
absolutely. Burning candles, when you go out, blow it out. If you're going to be using your fireplace, make sure that you close the wire mesh curtains or the glass doors, that you have lids available when you're cooking.
Okay.
You can always put the lid on a fire.
That's the triangle of fire, right? Get the air out of it and we're good to go.
Well, fire needs oxygen. It's like us. Without oxygen, the fire is going to die.
Okay. That's a good thing to remember. So now, Fire Safety Month, you've got a lot of information people can always get online. You've been teaching our kids this stuff all the time. They probably know more than we do. And one time when you celebrate all this is when you have your pancake breakfast, which is coming up at the beginning of October.
That's right. That's going to be Sunday, October 7th from 8 a.m. to noon at our fire station located 600 Deer Path Drive. We have a special guest coming. That's going to be Smokey Bear.
Oh.
So I hope that you all can get there, have some breakfast, meet the firefighters, take a station tour, and come see Smokey Bear.
Excellent. So it's for a very serious reason. You want us all to be safe and remember this stuff, but you guys have a lot of fun over there too. We'll have to see. You got any bounceables or free giveaways? You usually have a lot of free gifts too.
Will always be giveaways, and we also have the the fire truck crawl through for the little ones. So hope to see you.
Yeah, that's a good one too. So, well, thank you for the information. Thanks for coming over and working with the kids. People should go online if they want to remember more. And remember, October is Fire Prevention Month, so let's all be aware and be careful.
Thank you very much.
And if anybody ever has a problem, what you like to say is, don't hesitate.
Call 911.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, we're continuing our discussion of fire and fire safety. We're with Fire Marshal Mike McNally of the Countryside Fire Protection District. Thanks for joining us, sir.
You're welcome.
And we had just touched a little bit about sprinklers, because the fire sprinkler truck that was here, and Fireman Tony's been teaching the kids about how quickly fires grow and how sprinklers can put it out. Let's delve into that a little bit more, because that's kind of a technology that I know you guys feel very strongly for, because it not only is not just a warning, it actually prevents things. So.
Right, well, I know you spoke earlier about the smoke detectors, smoke alarms. Smoke alarms, they're important, and we have to have them to give us that early notification. However, sprinklers will actually help extinguish the fire, allowing folks to be able to exit either their business or their home and get to a safe meeting place.
Well, and we talked a little bit off camera. It's become even more and more important in this day and age, even though you guys are super fast. You have super fast response times. We're glad to have you around. But fires grow so much more quickly today than they did when I was a child. And can you explain how it's just a different world you're living in?
Well, 30 or 40 years ago, most of the products that we had in our businesses and our homes were natural products like wood, cottons, leather, natural products. But today, if you look around your home or you look around your office, most of the materials that we have within the rooms are plastics, synthetics, nylons, and when those burn, they burn much hotter, much faster. They emit more toxic gases, and it's so important that we get water on that fire as quickly as possible. And a sprinkler will get the water on the fire, and it'll also help everybody to escape.
Now let's talk about these. Now this is the sprinkler I think about. I see that in our schools and our businesses. But now when it comes to home use, I don't know if I'd be so excited about that. You say you've got another kind of looking piece of equipment that does the same thing, but it's a little bit less obtrusive.
What this is a cover. This is a typical sprinkler that we have, sprinkler head. And you can see in that sprinkler head there's the red bulb. And there's a red bulb, there's a liquid inside of there with an air pocket. And once the temperature reaches either 135 to 175 degrees, that glass bulb will break, the liquid will expand, and there's a plug inside of there, and that plug will pop out, and the water will flow out, hit the deflector, and it'll form a pattern that will extinguish and control the fire force. If you don't want to have this type of head, this is what we call a pendant head. We can also have a pendant head that has a cover on it that you won't even actually see it. It'll be on the ceiling flush to the ceiling, and you won't even be able to see it. And they have it in all different kinds of colors, so it can match whatever kind of color you have on your ceiling. So technology has come so far in the last 10 to 20 years.
Well, and when you say it's the bulb that gets hot enough to break and then release the water, so that means it's a very localized. It's not going to be my whole house isn't going to be.
Oh no, that's Hollywood, Lynn. This is heat activated. So once the temperature above this head gets to 135 to 175 degrees, that head and that head alone will activate and extinguish or control the fire force.
Okay, very good. And like you said, the technology's been around. We've got it in the businesses and the retail areas. It's just, how common is it in homes, though?
More and more common in homes today. In fact, in Vernon Hills here, most of our commercial buildings, our educational buildings, almost every one of them has sprinkler protection, and hundreds of homes. But we're seeing more of it. In fact, in our Countryside District, we have over 1,000 homes, residences, that have residential sprinkler systems in there. It's in the model codes now and all the standards that new single-family homes must have sprinkler protection, which is why we're going out and educating the public, the school children, because we're going to be seeing more and more of it.
Now, what if I have an older home and I'm not new construction? I have an older. Can I retrofit in?
Yes, there's more and more retrofitting that's going on today. And again, you can make it more aesthetically pleasing with your covers. We also have so you don't have to go into the walls and run any piping or anything. And most of the homes, the piping is either metal or it's a plastic PVC piping, which I've got a piece of right here. So they make it really, really easy to retrofit these buildings. And even they make covers, so you can put it into a cover along the wall.
It's like if I were doing it myself and wasn't going to be drilling in and doing anything, I could.
Exactly, so you don't have to go inside the walls, and we made it real easy. One of the biggest things that I found over the years, Lynn, with folks is that they don't realize, and that's one of the things that Fireman Tony was trying to show the children, they don't realize how quickly fire develops today with the plastics and the synthetics that we have. And we find, and there's been a UL study, that these rooms, a typical room today, is flashing over. And what we mean by flash over, that means everything in that room, from ceiling to floor, catches on fire and ignites. That is happening today in 2.5 minutes versus 15 to 20 minutes 20, 30 years ago. And that's why it's so important that we have our working smoke detectors, smoke alarms, and, if possible, have residential sprinklers or sprinklers in your commercial properties to actually help extinguish that fire and help you get out to a safe place outside the building.
It's frightening to think about that, but it is something we've got to be aware of. It's not the same world we lived in. We have to be able to move quicker and react quicker and prevent these things from starting in the first place, like you said. So
it's definitely changed from 20, 30 years ago. But unfortunately, we're still losing almost 3,000 folks a year in America to fire deaths. And a good majority of those are in residential homes. And with the technology that we have available today, we're able to prevent that.
Okay, it's something really we should be looking into. Now, if people want to know more, I know you've got a bunch of websites available that we can do our own research.
Yes, these are excellent websites for you to get on. And the first one that we have is homesprinklerfire.org. Okay. And the second one is firesprinklerassociation.org. And of course, we got our countrysidefire.org.
Yeah, and actually, to tell you the truth, going to Countryside gets you just about everything you need from there on. So, or giving you guys a call. You guys are great. And now, I want to point out, this is one of the fastest responding fire protection groups anywhere. So we're proud to have you, but we want to do our part to help, so you don't have to make so many trips.
We certainly appreciate everything.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll close this edition of the Vernon Hills Update with a look back at some of the sights and sounds from the Vernon Hills Oktoberfest, held on Saturday, October 6th at the Vernon Hills Metro Station. But remember, if you have comments or suggestions, please contact Mike Storto at 847-918-3560 or email Mike S. at vhills.org. Thank you for tuning into the Vernon Hills Update.
next tune we got, it's one of ours. It's called Streets of Gold. So how is everybody doing out there? Under the tent? Okay, good. There's some people listening. I like that. Freezing? Yes, I would agree. It's cold. So if you guys come out here, rock and roll, it warms you up, believe me. So this next tune we got, it's called Just Remember. It's a dance tune, at least some of it is. So it'd be really cool if we could get some people out here, or at least the people under the tent, put your hands up. There we go. All right, I see some people. All right, cool. So clap along with us, enjoy the tune. right, guys. We want to see those hands up. Get them back up. And give it up for Alex and guitar.
All right, thank you guys, thank you. Little warm up here for you. Get the dance stuff going here. You spin my hand right round when you go down, when you go down, down. You spin my hand right round when you go down, when you go down, down. Hey, walk up the house on my truck, I hop in the window, I got places to go. People that see time and places, I look at my car, it ain't out of control. This is my mind where I'm going, no women, no shorty, no nothing, my soul. No something in my really don't go. All of my doing is always on hold. I'm in the storm, a thumb in my pocket, keep telling me it's gonna shower. All of my homies, this song is popping tonight and it's meant to be ours. We keep a fade away shot cause we ball in this platinum patrol every hour. Look mama, oh, you just like the sour. Girl, you the truth and I'm back in the tower. You spin my head right round when you go down, when you go down, down. You spin my head right round. She got me throwing my money around. Ain't nothing more beautiful to be found. The top of the pole, I'm about to go down. She got me throwing my money around. Ain't nothing more beautiful to be found. Hey, shorty must know I'm a man. My money level like a #1 fan. Don't open my mouth, but I talk to my fans. My Benjamin Franklin. A couple of grands, like a couple fans. My people may lick in their dance. Get dirty, I like the spot on my hand. You building castles that shade out of sand. Keep amazing, the fire blazing. It's engaging, so what you move a little closer. Time to get paid, it's maximum wage. Your body belong on a poster. I'm in a phase, my bottom is waving. I mean, like I told you, you wanna show like a gun at a holster. Tell me whatever, and I'll be your chauffeur. You spin my head right round when you go down, when you go down, down. You spin my head right round when you go down, down. The top of the pole, I'm about to go down. She got me throwing my money around. Ain't nothing more beautiful to be found. The top of the pole, I'm about to go down. She got me throwing my money around. Ain't nothing more beautiful to be found. Hey, I'm spending my money. Hey, I'm losing control. Hey, somebody help me. She's taking my bankroll. I'm the king of the floor. Hey, I'm wearing the crown, popping those bottles, touching those bottles, looking the ladies go down, 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 down. You spin my head right round when you go down, when you go down, down. You spin my head right round when you go down, when you go down, down. You spin my head right round when you go down, when you go down, down. You spin my head right round when you go down, when you go down, down. All right, I love the dance moves, ladies. That's awesome. Let's keep dancing here. All right, Vernon Hills, we're gonna set this on fire to stay warm. Go, go, DJ, go, go, DJ, go, go, DJ, go. Girl, please excuse me if I'm coming too strong, but tonight is the night we can really let it go. My make some noise.
We got VHAC tournament dates, 2013. And VH stakeholders meeting. So,
Sweet.
where are we going to start?
Well, you want to start it out with, it's two pieces.
Where is Dave tonight?
He's on vacation.
Really?
He's in the UP.
Really?
Experiencing the first frost.
He's
I'm
getting
sure of
cold.
his,
He's getting snowed on.
current
It's
season.
supposed-
Is he really?
Well, it's not sticking, but yeah, they're going to get snow tonight.
So, anyway, but it hasn't snowed here yet. But, and that's why he's up there. So, I think the first thing is the tournaments and giving some direction to the various players, stakeholders for July of 2013. And then the other piece of it is the future stakeholders meeting, and as you saw from what I sent to you, just a bunch of issues that a number of you've talked from time to time, as well as the stakeholders, as well as the park district and the village staff. So anyway, but starting out with the tournaments, as you know, in 2012, we had a discussion back in 2011 to put the Stingers and the Lacrosse America, which for the first time was at VHAC in 2012. And there was, any of you who were there was a lot of cars there. And lacrosse, I think they drew something like 104 teams, a lot of people. So the Stingers have talked to us. They talked to us last year, and certainly a couple of representatives are here. They can speak to you guys about separating and basically having their own weekend, or a weekend that's not as busy as that weekend. And so, just throwing something out to discuss. We talked about, and none of this is ideal except, frankly, for the Stingers, but would be the first weekend of July, the 5th through 7th, is a Cougar Classic. And as noted to me, I've talked to Mark Peterson, he feels from past experience there might be a drop-off of going from 80 teams, somewhere around that number, to 50-plus teams, but by doing that kind of date. Then the lacrosse tournament, going from the third week to the second week, there's a conflict with some other, a lacrosse tournament. Chad Gruen, who you've met, he indicated there's something like a loss. I think they had 104. They'd go down to something in the 80s, he thinks. Of course, that's speculation. You don't really know. It might be less than that, might be somewhat more than that. And then the Stingers tournament would be on, I guess you'd say, a weekend traditionally that they've had their tournament in July, the 19th through the 21st.
And how many teams is that?
I think you guys, 50 teams. Okay, so 80 to 68.
Why do you think it went down?
Come on up. Come on up, and we need the folks at home to hear you.
Two years ago, My understanding was the first year the lacrosse was brought, or the big lacrosse tournament was here, I think half of it was at Dare Path, the other half was at VHAC, and just crazy congestion. And we'd do a survey at the end of our tournament every year, and the majority of the negative comments were congestion, parking. They couldn't find parking. They came an hour before when they're supposed to be there. It took them an hour and a half to do what they had to do. So, before lacrosse came, we were at 82 teams. And after the first lacrosse tournament where we had a share, we were down last year to, I think, 62, was it? 67? 68 teams last year. And it's just a matter of, they can go many different places. And if they have to fight the park and fight traffic to get to their games, they're probably going to choose another tournament over ours.
What kind of a fundraiser was this? How did you do? I mean, how do you do as far as raising?
This is we do 3 small fundraisers a year, and this is our largest one.
We usually get between $14,000 to $16,000.
And that's what, from the entrance fees or?
The entrance fees, concessions, then one of our biggest expenses is umpires. We spend in double digits on umpires.
For the season.
No, for the tournament.
Well, no, but what do you net then?
For the
tournament?
For the tournament, we net about $14,000 to $16,000.
Yeah, after all expenses.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's, our costs, I always tell when I have our team meetings, I tell the parents that our costs are probably the lowest and any travel softball program within 100 miles because of our fundraising, and that subsidizes a lot.
Yeah, and how many teams do the Stingers enter in this tournament?
We have 8 teams.
8? Okay. Yeah. So how many, and I don't know these answers, how many, does anybody know what lacrosse, how many lacrosse teams are there from our town, I guess? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
No.
Do you guys have any idea? I mean.
I think don't hold me to this, I think there was one. Was there one or
another country heard from here? You want to state your name for the record, please?
Mark Rosenstock with
Yeah.
VHCYAA.
How many, do you have any idea?
I don't know the exact amount, but I think there were more than 30 teams that Lacrosse America had from out of town. That was a big part of their demographic and a big sell when they.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, they had, okay.
They had 100.
Do we have any idea how many local? I mean, from towns in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Did the high school have a team in it?
The high school did not have a team at this one, to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah. Well, is there a local, lacrosse league in town?
There is local, both Libertyville and
Vernon Hills.
Vernon Hills also have lacrosse teams.
Well, who runs that program?
The lacrosse program.
Yeah.
It's run by the Cougars organization.
Oh, okay. Is there okay?
How
many teams are there in that?
Teams? We probably have about 6 teams in lacrosse. I think the quality of the tournament wasn't such because it's a very new sport for us, and we did not have.
You didn't enter people.
We did not enter.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. So basically, 0 Vernon Hills teams in.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well. All right. And then what about baseball? I mean, how many baseball
baseball's
teams
very much in the same situation. If you don't mind me digressing here,
sure.
Since it's a stakeholders meeting, if I could explain a little bit about how our structure is.
Yeah.
I'm here representing the organization VHCYAA.
Yeah.
We also have, similar to Mr. Comator, a commissioner of baseball, who has very much the same issue that the Stingers have with the dates. The one thing we know is that from an economic impact, lacrosse was significant to town. They had a tremendous amount of out-of-town teams. We understand and acknowledge why it's important for the village to have lacrosse and for them to have, the dates that they have, given all the factors that are there. From an organizational standpoint, we're in exactly the same situation with the Stingers and Cougar baseball. They both want their dates because they are both suffering similar situations. They both are in a situation where if they don't get the priority date, then they're going to have an impact on the amount of teams that are there. Last year, because of another tournament called Firecracker, to the best of my knowledge, that has those traditional 4th of July dates, is the baseball contingent was down about 30%. Sounds sort of very similar to what you had being across Lacrosse America's dates. So organizationally, we haven't really had a chance to have both parties together sitting there and working out and trying to come to some sort of an accommodation on figuring out what dates are who will get what dates. And it's difficult because they're both right. I mean, they both have a significant impact by being over dates that neither of them feel are advantageous.
Yeah, all right.
May I-
Yeah. you
Well,
wanna-
let me just
All right,
interject
Trustee
something.
Cook?
Personally, from this chair, Lacrosse America ranks third, and it's a distant third, okay? Because the other two organizations are community-based organizations throwing these tournaments. So they're an outside entity, and as far as I'm concerned, if they don't like the dates, I'm sorry. I know they bring in money to town, but the main reason for building the VHAC, and that was as an amenity to residents first, and then something else. What I would like to try is that sounds like we sort of have a tentative agreement that baseball could go the first weekend, lacrosse the second, and the Stingers the third, and that would give everybody a separate weekend, and that would give us a chance to see what how many tournament teams you get and what kind of an impact there is if everybody has their own weekend, and then look at how we could make some kind of changes the following year, because I agree when you put any two of these together and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, the third issue was that weekend at summer celebration, and that's what, stretched staff pretty good. But Trustee Marquardt?
Yeah, as I would say, I'd probably agree to the point of, yes, it's great to have 3 weeks spanned out of it. Question I have is, probably maybe I shouldn't even say it to the point it is money factor. It costs $240,000 to operate the VHAC. The Cougars have tournament, they don't pay anything. The Stingers have a tournament, they don't pay anything to the village. The Park District has some tournaments that will run back and forth with some of their, and they pay a portion of it. So technically, lacrosse is the only one that will bring money in and a large amount. Unfortunately, yes, it does run into a problem when you tie one into the other. I do know if we had Cougars play on the 24th, that, on the weekend of the 4th, it would jeopardize some of the teams there because it's a holiday time and they won't have it. Take lacrosse and put them to the second week, it would drop off attendance in what they have, and would it affect our bottom line of what we would receive from it? It probably would. If you let the Stingers have the third week, they would be fine with it, and we'd go on. I was trying to take a look at a point that if in fact it could be combined. For an example, the biggest question upon all this is, yes, it's an impact. I thought the village, the staff, the police department honestly handled it extremely well, and I think things went very well. Parking is an issue, but I think it was scattered so much to the point that you couldn't use the Mitsubishi parking lot, then you could. Then the way that it was all carried about, it's a free-for-all for all the parking. If you regulate the parking, there's a possibility of it. It's a suggestion, and my suggestion would be to try to end up blending, let the Cougars play on the second week. If we combined with the Stingers and lacrosse on the third week, but again, it has to be dropped to the point that they get field 5 and 6, their parking areas in the front, parking across, whatever we could, and you eliminate that corner. Because also, if I understand, is that the Stingers play probably 25, out of 14, 4 age groups, they're scattered along from the Park District and into the VHAC. So it's probably only
Did you use the
25%.
township also this year?
Yeah, we had to. Part of the discussion we've had last year at the meetings, we kept pleading our case that, we have Field 1, Field 5, Field 6, the varsity field, Vernon Hills High School varsity field, and the Stevenson field across the street. Unfortunately, because of the dynamics of the fields inside the pinwheel, the girls really can't
There's
use.
only one field.
There's only one field the girls can use.
Yeah.
So at some point, it would be nice if, we can host our tournament at one location. We talked last year, and we pleaded our case that congestion and it can't.
You could do it just at the VHAC?
We could do a majority of it at the VHAC, and we'd still probably need maybe 2 other locations.
Would you use one of the practice fields over at the American Hotel?
Probably. I've never seen those fields, actually. I've heard they're not great right now.
It's hard to, it's a long walk. It's very inconvenient for people. We played there before we were in VHAC.
Even if people park at American Hotel? People didn't park there, did they, this year?
We used to park at the high school, had to walk up.
Well, I understand that part. I'm just saying, what I'm saying is that, were they even approached it? I thought.
Well, we arranged for parking at American Hotel for specifically that tournament, for the lacrosse tournament, but they have some concerns about that, so every tournament would have to stand on its own.
There were a lot of things talked about last year. We knew going in that, when some of the trustees say that we can work it out, our feeling is bringing in the outside organization of lacrosse to have 21 or 23 fields and have us have 2 in the corner, that might be being worked out for lacrosse, but that doesn't bode very well for us and for our teams coming in. We had many meetings last year with all the parties. We had a meeting where we were promised this weekend by ourselves. The village was there, lacrosse was there, the Park District was there, and they said it was something.
You mean for this coming year?
For this coming year, for 2013.
I'm sure you're right. Not sitting here with all those minutes.
And it's just, the big thing is, splitting it, lacrosse takes up 97% of the complex, and we have 3. Our people get pushed out, the congestion, the cars were parked up against the backstops on the grass. There's no room for teams to practice and warm up before games. So, it's not a good experience to have everything there.
Well, Mike,
this is.
Yeah, hang on one second. Manager Allison, did you, everybody has sort of said that everybody'd rather have everything they want. I understand that. The same as all the people parked. That's why the idea of the parking, unless you're going to have somebody out there directing traffic and actually managing the parking, it's not going to work. We just got through talking about that with the beer market. It's the same problem. But you said it sounded like everybody was, although not everybody was happy, everybody was willing to give this idea of 3 separate weekends a try.
Well, they said...
And see what happens, what kind of impact there is to their tournament.
Yeah, each party said they would run their tournament. I talked to Mark Peterson about the Cougar Classic that weekend, which would be actually the 5th through the 7th. It's immediate, I think the 4th is on a Thursday. Then I talked to Chad Gruen, and Trustee Marquardt and I met with him. I've talked to him subsequently. They would have the tournament. Again, as you said, Trustee Cook, they'd prefer to have it 3rd weekend, but they could do